Well, hey, Brother Mark, let me show you what I'm doing here. I took this apart, and I told you I was going to put an epoxy type deal running through here, drill a hole so it would be sealed by epoxy. And I bought that epoxy right after I talked to you. I loaded it in a couple that I was going to build, but I found I wasn't really happy with the way it performed. It just didn't set right. I wasn't pleased with the product. So I did a little more homework, and this is what I'm going to do. The way these things are built, I tore yours all apart. I'm doing a whole new shaft. The way these are built, I've got this little compression fitting that the generator goes on, and then it has a little threaded end on it, 1/8 TPI, and that threaded end will go either through a bottom bar like this or a bottom nut like on the Yale. But all I got sticking out is like maybe a 1/4 inch of it. So then I put a brass fitting on that. And yours was not the last one. I just came up with this new design. What I was doing was I was using solder, running solder through that to keep the two from turning if you put a wrench on it. I didn't want this to pivot separate from the generator in case somebody was going to disassemble it. So this is what I'm doing now. This piece of pipe goes about halfway up into this. The little nipple on the end goes about halfway in there. So they're butting up against each other. So to keep this from spinning from this, from spinning from that, I tapped it out. I put stainless steel screws in there, and that gives it all a solid mechanical bond instead of using solder. I did more homework, and most of the solders melt around 400-ish, 460 degrees, something like that. But checking it out, I've used zinc in the past. I checked the melting point on zinc, and it's about 750 degrees, which is much higher than this would get. So instead of filling the shaft with heat-resistant epoxy, I'm going to melt zinc and pour zinc into the passage. Then obviously when it cools, I'll drill a smaller, like a 1/8 passage through that. So that zinc is going to do all the sealing between where this guy and this guy butt up against each other inside this union. Unfortunately, I don't have any zinc in the shop. I used it all up months ago. So tomorrow I'm going to the bank and I'm going to get a couple of rolls of pennies and melt them down. As you know now, the pennies just have a copper clad and the inside is actually zinc. It's 97.5% pure, and I've used it for casting before. And it's cheaper to get a 50-cent roll of pennies than to buy a piece of zinc the same size for casting. So that's where I'm at. I tore your original one out. I just, I didn't want to monkey around trying to. It's like putting too many patches on an inner tube. Finally, you just know the tire's no good, and you throw it out and you buy a new tire. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm giving you a new compression nipple for the generator, a new union here, and a new down pipe to screw into the valve. Then I'm holding it. I took this and this and this, and with wrenches tightened them up together as tight as I can get them. Then I drilled these and put the stainless steel screws in. The screw goes through this and into the body of that. So that's going to keep the two from rotating against each other. Then tomorrow I'm going to get the zinc, fire up the caster, and fill that void with solid zinc, let it cool, and then drill it out, and we should be good to go. This is a much better way. I've been thinking about doing it this way, and yours is actually the very first one that I'm making that's going to function. So I've got a bunch of these made up for future lanterns, but they got that no good epoxy in them, so I got to drill that out and then, you know, put a plug in it and fill the thing up with zinc. So anyway, long story short, that's where we're at. And you personally know more of the inner technology workings of building these things than any other collector, because I try to keep you posted each step of the way and show you my successes and failures. But this is going to be bulletproof. I'm just tickled pink. All right, that's it. Walk with the Lord and be a blessing, brother. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.